Hello, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and I am coming to you from Columbia, Maryland. This is my little corner of the YouTube where I document my fibery adventures, which is usually knitting and crocheting. Occasionally there will be some weaving, some yarn dyeing, and I have now added spinning to my repertoire. I wasn't looking for another expensive hobby, but somehow it happens. So if this sounds like something you are interested in, please join us. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I so appreciate you all. And if you are a new viewer, I hope you enjoy this episode. This is a little different than my normal episodes. This is an episode of Coffee Talk. So I have my coffee. I have it in my mug, Dear Karma. I have a list of people you missed, XOXO. Because we all know, Karma, she's up. If this sounds like something you are interested in, please, by all means, grab a cup of something to drink. Grab yourself some knitting and crocheting, sit back and join me as I share some thread crochet with you. So hello, fiber friends. This is another episode of the series that I started last month called Coffee Talk. So it's not my usual episodes where I'm going to be showing my finished objects and my whips or anything like that. This is basically a segment where I focus on one thing. And today I am focusing on thread crochet. Why am I focusing on thread crochet? Excellent question. I am focusing on thread crochet because I learned the fiber arts from my Nonna. Nonna is the Italian word for grandmother, and that is what we called her, Nonna and Nonna Joe. That was her husband. They are my mother's parents. Nonna was a prolific crocheter. I believe she did some knitting as well, but I think crochet was her number one love. And all I ever saw her crochet with is thread. When we were younger kids, she used to make us all white crocheted socks. So even as a kid, I had handmade socks. I wish to this day I still had a pair because I would love to share them with you all and just have them as a memory and a keepsake from my Nonna. But unfortunately, I do not. Next time I go home, I will see if maybe there is a picture of us wearing them when we were kids in one of my mother's old photo albums. But the reason why this is coming up today for me is that my zia is the word that we use for aunt in Italian, or I should say it means aunt in the Italian language. So when my zia was cleaning out her house, she is also a crocheter. She found a little baggage, a little plastic keepsake bag type thing that had some swatches and some ideas that my Nonna had created, along with a couple of balls of the thread that she used to use and the crochet hooks that she used. And since I am the only grandchild out of 10 that really picked up on this hobby, she gave them to me. And I thought it would be nice to share them with you all, since she gave me my love of fiber arts. So first I'm going to show you the thread crochet that was in here. And I believe, according to the bag, and I'm sorry, I'm not taking it out. I'm not sure if that means it's a 40-gram ball or if the thread size is 40. Because I know we have crochet thread comes in, I believe it comes in 10, 20, 30, and 40. And I don't know if it comes any thinner than that unless you get into weaving yarns. And honestly, I don't even know if weaving yarns are any thinner than a 30 or a 40. I would probably have to compare them one day. But this is the thread that she used. You can see how itty bitty it is. And then these are the crochet hooks. Now one is a US 10. It's a 1.15 millimeter. Oh, that didn't work very well, did it? And you could see how tiny that hook is. And then this is her bigger hook. And it's a Boyd 9. So if that's a 10, this is a 9. So it's slightly bigger, not by much, but it doesn't have the millimeter on it. So I couldn't tell you what millimeter size it is. And then in this bag, she has what looks like various swatches for ideas for blankets or tablecloth. I know she made those as well. My mother has a beautiful, beautiful I can speak. My mother has a beautiful bedspread that Nonna made for her and a beautiful tablecloth. And I keep, every time I go to my mother's house, she's always telling me and my sisters, oh, put your names on what you want for when we pass away. You know how all mothers get like that. Okay, maybe not all, but anywho, I kept telling her the only things that I want my name on is that bedspread and that tablecloth. Because I am the only grandchild that she has. I'm sorry. I'm the only child she has that picked up her mother's love of crochet. And so those are my sisters can fight over the jewelry. I just want those two items. And within this bag that I found, inside this bag that my Zia gave me, like I said, were different, what looks like swatches and ideas that she was coming across. And so I thought I would share them all with you guys. So here are just some samples that she has made of some flowers, some triangles. You could see how she was, like building from one to another on some of these. Let's see. So here we have a simple triangle. Here we have a flower, and then how she built the flower to create a background for it. And then how she started another type of flower. And then how she was building off of that flower to go and I guess do some sort of a... Oh, those are two different types of flowers. I am so sorry. And she did this all day long when she was babysitting us. She would watch us and she would just crochet away. She never had a pattern. So these ideas all came out of her head. And back in those days, let's see. My parents immigrated. Well, I was born in 70s. So there were not real patterns per se when my grandmother was younger and my mom. They sort of knew the stitches. They had basic knowledge of knitting and crocheting and how to make items or garments or whatever. If you look at older patterns, if you find any vintage patterns and you take a look at them, they are not as detailed in, you do this for so many rows, you do that for so many inches or whatnot. They were basic ideas or recipes, and then you had to figure out the rest according to your measurements. Today's patterns are much more detailed with very explicit instructions of how to create a garment or a tablecloth or whatever. And so here we have two other pieces that she was starting. Here's one of her square motifs that she made tablecloths or bedspreads out of. And she just, she had these ideas and she would make them and see if they worked. This is another one that she probably would have turned into a bedspread or a tablecloth. I can't even describe to you this intricacy that she did to connect all these squares together. And it does not look like these squares were crocheted separately and then connected like most of us do today. It looks like she crocheted and they were sort of built off of each other, because these cross and connect, and I mean, really, I can't even explain to you how she did it. Here's another one where she was playing around with different flower motifs and different edgings. You could see this one is just a nice fan, whereas these sort of make little hearts. And she somehow makes one and connects it to another and just keeps going. I mean, just amazing work. And then this is definitely one that she would have made as a bedspread. And I don't think this is the one my mom has. I think my mom has something a little bit different. But this flower is raised, so the flower is made a little bit separately, and then she goes back to the beginning and crochets out the leaves, which are just gathered double crochet stitches. Just stunning work. And now the big thing that my Nonna was the big thing that I remember my Nonna crocheting are crocheted edgings. And she crocheted 10 sets because she made one for each one of her grandchildren. So I have 9 cousins on my mom's side of the family. And the crocheted edgings were given to each of her kids. She had 3 girls and 1 boy, so they were each given a set for each one of their kids. And when me and my cousins were getting married, as part of the gift from Nonna and Nonna Joe, is that our mothers would sew our edgings onto a set of sheets for us, and that was to be our part of our wedding gift. So the crochet edging used to go all the way around a pillowcase, and that pillowcase would then be used as a pillow sham, and then across the top sheet for the set. This is the one my Nonna created for me that my mother sewed onto a set of blue sheets. So I'm going to hold it back here. So you can see it goes all the way down and around and up the other side. And then the pillow went right in here. And no, I've never used them. I always felt guilty because, here I am telling other people to use my stuff and I refuse to use my Nonna's gift. But, so here it is. Let me see if I can get it better. There we go. Put the black felt behind it. So you could see it was some sort of a fan pattern. And this was crocheted up in this direction. So you would do like one fan at a time as you crocheted up. And then my mother found ribbon that matched my sheets and she put it in. And then they were sewn to the sheets. I'm actually thinking, because I would never, ever, ever want to put this through a washing machine, is I was actually thinking of taking this off and seeing if there was a way of maybe putting snaps on the back, or maybe tiny buttons, so that I could use it, and when it was time to wash the sheets, I could take the edging off and hand wash that and then lay it flat to dry, and then I could throw the sheets in the washing machine. And when the sheets go bad, or the sheets don't fit my bed anymore, because you know mattresses today are much thicker than the old days, I could switch this out and put it on a new set of sheets. But this way I wouldn't ruin it, and it's really become a keepsake, a family heirloom. And so in this bag of goodies that I got from my Zia, I have several different edgings that Nonna created. So here's 3. You can see she started out with small ones, and then she went a little bit larger. Here are some triangle ones she did. Now these were all created off of a crochet chain. So you would have to know how long you needed, how long of a chain you would need to go around pillowcases and a top sheet. I couldn't even imagine having to deal with a crochet chain that thin. Oops. But for those, you need the long crochet chain, and then the fan stitches are crocheted, I almost said knit, crocheted across the borders. Most of the time when I caught her crocheting, she was crocheting in an up manner, which is what this is. At least I'm pretty positive these 2 white ones were started at the bottom here, and then you crocheted up. So each motif was done, and then you would start on the next one, and then you would start on the next one. Same with this one. This one I'm not sure about. It looks like it could have started that way, but it also looks like it could have been a long crochet. Now she doesn't have an end on either side of this. There's just this one up here that's at the end of this triangle here. So I'm not quite sure how those were made, unless I decide to try and take it apart, which, since that's the only one in that with those flowers on it, I'm not taking it apart. This looks like it was probably a swatch that she created before she created mine, because it looks very similar. That's the other way. But if you put these side by side, it looks like the same. It looks like the same fan if you put them side by side. And then you could see here, she tried out 2 different, Oops. So here it looks like she tried out 2 different style snowflakes or flowers. I'm not quite sure. This one's a little bit smaller, whereas this triangle's a little bit bigger. Just amazing detailed work. And then here are 2 beautiful flower ones. Again, these are both started down here and crocheted up in a direction like this. So you can see the start of the next flower up there, where it looks like the rose vine probably will continue to connect up. This one looks like it might be individual roses, since I don't see a connection up at the top. And basically what she did is she crocheted up like this. And then those would be sewn around the pillowcases and the top sheets. So I'm thinking I would like to create some sort of a shadow box with all of these. Maybe not all of them. Maybe I'll pick the best pieces and put them in a shadow box with, it would be neat to put this on the bottom, like on the, because usually shadow boxes have depth to them. So maybe putting one of these at the bottom and having some of the different motifs and edgings in the background pinned down. And then I couldn't decide if I wanted to put the crochet hooks in or not. What do you guys think? I don't know what else to do with all this beautiful work she did. Definitely don't want to throw it out. And then I was thinking to myself, I know, dangerous.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger! Danger, Will Robinson, danger!
So I picked up 2 crochet edging books, and I was thinking maybe, now I don't have 10 grandchildren. I actually don't have any grandchildren, but I do have 4 nieces. So I was thinking maybe I would try and carry on my Nonna's tradition and make a set for each one of my nieces. Now 2 of my nieces are in their mid to late 20s, and my other 2 are, one's a teen and one's a tween. So I really only have to make 1 right now, because my oldest niece has actually moved in and living with her partner, and will probably be getting married at some point in the near future. But the other 3 are nowhere near getting married, so I'll have time. But I was thinking I might go through these books and see. I must be crazy because I can barely see right now. I was thinking that I might try my hand at making an edging for them. Now this book has over 56 different ideas. The problem is I would have to go through and I would have to be very specific on which ones I'd be able to try. So like, oh, this is going to be fun to try. Like this one. This one starts with a chain of 8. So what that suggests to me is it is one that starts down here and is crocheted up as an edging that can be rolled up and put aside. Whereas this one, this flower one, is done on a chain of multiple number plus whatever. So what that means in crochet terms is that you would have to make that long chain at the bottom, and you're crocheting back and forth to make this motif. So this one is an older one. I've actually had this one in my book, my knitting and crocheting book collection, for quite a number of years, because I always thought I would try this and I never did. So these are this is a very ancient looking thing. I think this is more akin to how things were probably passed down. What year is this book? This is an 87. And so this one has, crochet edgings for curtains, flower edgings that they used to put on the bottoms of like tea towels or hand towels for the bathrooms. What else do they have? Oh, this one has edgings for handkerchiefs. That used to be a big thing. Whereas this one's a bit more, this one's a newer version. You've got full color photos, explicit details. Here's another beautiful one that's crocheted starting here and crocheted up this way, which is nice because then I could get the measurement of, what am I thinking? The measurement of I would probably go for the biggest size, the king shams, and get all three sides, and then the king top sheet. And I would probably crochet that length in all one long piece, and definitely crocheting it up in this style, going from the top to the bottom. Unless any of you crocheters out there know of a way that I would be able to crochet one of the pieces that goes back and forth without having to have, like, a 17-foot thread crochet chain to carry around. I'm not really sure. But anywho, that is all I have for this crochet thread episode. No, it's not. So when I decided that I was going to attempt to do some edging to see if I could possibly carry on Nonna's tradition, I went onto Amazon, of course, and I found 20 and 30, I don't want to say count, but it's, I guess, 20 and 30 sized, mer-sized cotton. I did get colored cotton so that I could just play around and at least have some color in there. So this is a 20, this is a 30. I could not find a 40, so I didn't buy the 40, but I think these are thin enough. I mean, look at that. That's a pretty thin. That's pretty thin. So I think this is probably comparable to what my Nonna used. So I think I'm going to play around with some of those edgings in the book, and I'll share them with you when I have some done. And I might go blind because I can barely read without reading glasses. And I don't know how my Nonna did it. I swear this woman was, I'm telling you, they just don't build women like my Nonna. 94 years old, didn't really need glasses to do this kind of work. She was amazing. And then while I was at it, I went ahead and picked up one of each, a 20 and a 30 in the natural colorway, just in case I decide to move forward with it. And if not, I am sure I could find something else to do with this. And so that is all I have for you today. If you have tried crochet edging, let me know in the comments how you do it. If you have another book suggestion for me for crochet edgings, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. If you have ever created a shadow box for your memorabilia stuff, did you do it? Did you have like a place do, like a framing place do it for you? I've never scoped this out, so I don't know. I know there are shadow boxes that you can buy, but I also know that you can get them professionally done. I'm guessing I would probably somehow want this one professionally done, because I don't know if they can like seal it so that air doesn't get in, and you know how fabric can get after so many years. But anywho, if you have enjoyed this episode, if you've taken anything away from it, please give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if this is something you have enjoyed and wish to get more content from. Once you've subscribed, if you go ahead and hit that bell so that you can get notified for any other content that I might put out on this channel. Please leave me a comment. I do love to read your comments. If you are new, take a look at my previous video, because I do have a giveaway on that video. I am not pulling a name on this video since this is not a formal episode. This is a Coffee Talk episode. So with that, happy knitting, happy crocheting. Ciao, ciao. Love you guys.